So what about JPEG? What is it about JPEG that kind of...
What is it about JPEG?
Well, here's the thing. JPEG compression, and it's the Joint Photographic Experts Group, that's what JPEG stands for, wanted to come up with a method of compressing images for transmission. Early on, just getting a color image over, pre-internet was very difficult.
At
for
300 baud.
Yeah. So basically they came up with a compression capability, and what JPEG compression basically does, there are different flavors and slightly different algorithms for doing the compression. But what it tries to do is compress the heck out of the color information while preserving the luminance information. Mm-hmm. It is actually in a special color space that separates the color from the luminance, and then it comes in and really compresses the color. So here's an image that I created. This is it's actually an 8-bit ProPhoto RGB, but you can see that the colors are continuous gradation. And then for the purposes of this demo, I actually did a JPEG compression where I saved it at compression 0. Okay, so nobody would ever really use compression
that's the worst
0.
compression.
But it shows really well just what the JPEG compression
looks like it
is
rained
doing.
on something rained on it and they smeared.
Yeah. So let me just show this 2-up and zoom way in. So what you can actually see is the quadrant. I'm pretty sure it's a 2x2 quadrant where basically it takes the color 2 pixels down, 2 pixels across, and looks in that area and says, okay, it's just going to average the color and maintain the luminance.
Right.
So what ends up happening is that the integrity of the color is, degraded, while the luminance is preserved. Now, JPEG, particularly a very high quality compression, you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference of before and after.
Right.
And JPEG is a fine file format for the web, although one might argue PNG might be a little bit better. But JPEG as a consumable file that won't be reprocessed after the fact is okay. So I mean, if you got to send a JPEG to a photo lab, that's fine as long as nobody's going to touch it after they get it.
Right. And that's why, of course, we preach don't shoot in-camera JPEGs.
Yes.
What a stupid waste. And it amazes me, there are people who have really good, expensive cameras who shoot JPEGs.
Yeah.
And they say, well, it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so...
And I don't need to fix it after the fact. That's the conceit that I hear, that it's like, yeah, you do. Nobody's perfect. So here is an actual real-life example, a bracket of 3 RAW plus 3 JPEGs that I did an assembly. It's kind of blending the light and the dark. And then here are the 2 images. And let me pop this open and really point out where in real life, in a real-world situation, JPEG sucks. Shall we? Here is the RAW image. And then here is the JPEG. Let me show these 2 up. And I think what you'll see, the image 4956 is the JPEG, the CRW is the RAW file. And then let me just show you the adjustments that were actually done to make this. Blending the 3 exposures, doing a levels adjustment, another levels adjustment, which I try to avoid, yet a 3rd levels adjustment, a hue and saturation, gradating a little bit of color into the sky, and then
a typical process of an image, yeah.
And not terribly over the top in terms of the imaging.
By your standards, no.
Yeah. So now if you look here, you clearly see banding down below here, and you don't see the banding here in the 16-bit image. So,
in other words, you broke the bottom one.
Yeah, I broke the image.
Okay.
I done broke it. Okay. And once you get banding, you really can't. About all you can do is add noise. You can't blur it. what I found is actually running Gaussian blur increases the banding, because the banding is basically posterization, which is not enough levels to maintain the smooth gradation.
Right.
So JPEG
well,
versus RAW.
I'm convinced.
Okay. You'll always shoot in the RAW?
Promise.
That's a visual that you can take home with you.